Light skin from LA. She got a little LA. I see nobody but you. I'm never confused. I see nobody. I'm face just like
Men, get ready for trouble. Not here for that, Sage. Just want to talk about Jonas Sedaris' release. Oh, you're the one coordinating it, right? My idea, you know. Arya came to me looking to gain Eclipse support. I'm leveraging to bust the boss out. Say, you should run Eclipse. Huh? You can do it. Leave Sedaris locked up and make the deal with Arya for yourself. Arya would be a step up. And you think she'd let me run things? I don't see why not. Right. Then that's the plan. Keep Sedaris in jail. I'll call Arya right away. Good man. Ah, shit. Welcome to Victorian State Arms. Please observe all cast restrictions when making a purchase. Victorian State Arms. Defend hegemony. Son of a bitch. I know. You don't have to say it. Son of a bitch. But I'm about to make my comeback. How long will you leave? Shepard, the Council withdrew the release say that again.
Thanks for your help, Shepard. Assistant Commander Shepard in preventing Cerberus forces from killing Prince. Position vacated by Council and now Dina, who died assisting Cerberus in the attack.
Spectre status recognized. Please select a destination. One moment, please. Now arriving at Justinian Embassy.
Ooh, that's tough.
Forces continue their assault on cyberspace, claiming the Nicholas Cluster and Silian Nebula.
With Credit Karma, your good driving score can unlock insurance discounts. Download the app to get started. You said my dad was dead. I said not alive.
Everything okay at home?
Sort of.
More than 6 weeks after the media scrum at Brawlout, we are now starting to see some of the fallout.
Revealing from the implications. Udina in league with Cerberus trying to murder the council. These are dark days for all of us.
If there is an investigation and we still have no evidence there actually is one, it may be just about...
All that time you were working for Udina.
Dave Meltzer
Did you ever
first
suspect?
report that
Always
Ace
rubbed me a
Steel
little
is
wrong.
gone from AEW. He was released on Monday for his role in the backstage incident where he is alleged to have hit Nick Jackson
No
in the
time
face
for
with a
rest.
chair
Good luck.
and bit Kenny Omega
Yeah.
on the arm.
You too, Shepard.
Kenny had visible bite marks on his arm after that. All while defending his best friend, CM Punk, and/or his own wife. Depending on which version of the story you believe. His wife Lucy was said to be in the locker room when all of this went down. She was in there looking after Punk's dog Larry. Since they were in Chicago, Punk brought his dog to the show. She had a broken foot at the time, and still one version was that Ace was just defending his wife. I said from the get-go, at a minimum, Ace Steel had to go. The guy threw a fucking chair at one of the EVPs of the company and bit another EVP on the arm, like a dog. There was an actual dog in the room. Apparently Larry was on his best behavior. I can't say the same for Ace Steel. But he had no chance of surviving this. He was going to fall no matter... It's like the whole Johnny Ace thing all over again. When all the news came out about Vince McMahon and Johnny Ace and the hush money and the investigation that the board of directors was overseeing, you knew that no matter what came out of this, whether Vince stayed or whether Vince went, and I sit here now months later, I'm still shocked that Vince McMahon ended up walking away. I'm still shocked by that. But the one thing that I said from day one, Johnny Ace is not going to survive this. Johnny Ace is the low-hanging fruit. He was going to be gone no matter what. I felt the same way here about Ace Steel. No matter what happens with CM Punk, with the Bucks, with Omega, you had to know that Ace Steel was not going to survive this. Naturally, it makes you wonder if they let go of CM Punk's best friend, his trainer. What does that mean for Punk's future in AEW? It doesn't look like he has a future in AEW. Meltzer says Punk and AEW are in talks about his future, but right now, it looks doubtful that he will be back. Those with close knowledge of the situation said the company is in talks with Punk about a buyout of the remaining years on his contract, which is a sign that Punk is all but gone. If they're talking about buying him out, this guy is...
I'm trying to go over everything in my head. Make sense of it.
That could have ended very badly.
Very badly. Glad we're both still standing.
We stopped Adina and got to walk away. That's the important part.
I can't believe he was responsible for all of it. Is he indoctrinated?
It's hard to say.
How do we fight something that can worm its way into his head?
I don't know. But we don't have a choice.
I wanted to talk to you about that. Hackett asked me to join his team. It's a great offer, but I'd prefer to ride this thing out aboard the Normandy.
Permission granted, Lieutenant. Just keep your gun pointed at the Reapers, okay?
I prefer it, thanks.
Grab your gear and find the bunk.
Aye, aye, Captain.
And Ash?
Yeah.
It's good to have you back.
Why is it so bright?
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Boy, what the?
Shepard, I got Anderson patched in. I was just getting him up to speed. That SOB was always in power.
He wasn't in charge. Cerberus was just using him to take control of the Citadel.
What's it all for?
I don't know. Not yet.
Could have been on our worse.
What?
You're assassin. I'll have that send my reports on it.
The holdup right now is said to be the non-compete period, and if they're talking about a non-compete, that means AEW wants to protect against Punk going back to WWE.
I take it.
And for all the people
Healy Sand is the guy I know she ever run into.
and who think there's no chance of that happening, not only is there a chance of that happening, after the backstage show on Fox was canceled, WWE reached out to Punk about a possible return, and he listened to what they had to say.
Able to do with you and Grayson.
He did not say
It's
no.
a safe bet. Lang's even more dangerous
And the
now.
talks never really went anywhere. He still had issues with them playing games. And the fact that they even reached out, and the fact that he listened to what they had to say tells you you cannot ever close the door on the possibility of Punk going back to WWE.
Our scientists are convinced
Tony Khan knows
enough
that,
energy to
which is
destroy
why I'm sure he wants to make sure there is a lengthy non-compete
How will
in
it
the
dispense the
situation unfolds when you buy out Punk's contract. He wants to make sure
How do
he
you stop us
wants
from
it
wiping
to.
us all out? Exactly.
And if CM Punk is going to wrestle
Catalyst is to keep it
outside
moving, how to
of
focus his energy,
shot here and
how to
there,
direct his
if he
energy
signs
until
a
he frizzles
contract
all.
anywhere, the
I'm
only
working on
place that he is going
We'll
to
find the
sign
answer, Shepard.
is
I'll send you an
WWE, because
update on the
nobody else can afford
schematics.
to pay him what
In the
WWE
meantime, we'll keep building, and we'll
I
keep
said this
fighting.
right after the scrum.
Make sure there's enough left to come back
has
to.
to go. He has
You've
to
always
go.
trusted me.
Don't make it
We're still at this.
script.
The gods of war haven't given up on us yet.
They shouldn't
Good
have
luck, both
active
of you.
talent as
Understood.
Be careful.
scripted more
Do you
than
have a
their
moment?
trios time.
A contact within Asari High Command was insistent I pass on a distress signal to you.
Take fine of the timing.
Something they can handle.
From what I can tell, they sent several commando squads to investigate. None of them returned. They didn't ask me directly, but I think High Command is hoping you might help.
What's your take on this?
That they wouldn't ask for help if it wasn't important. The colony's coordinates are on the galaxy map. I'll try to figure out what's going on.
From their supposed investigation, we won't. We're never going to know for sure. Nobody will never know for sure, except the people who were in the room. Nobody will ever know for sure exactly what happened or what the exact sequence of events were. But Punk had to go. Even before any punches were thrown, just the things he said and the way he acted in the media scrum and how much of a chump he made the boss look like. The boss, by the way, bent over backwards for him.
Commander, I found something you need to see.
He was on top of
What have you got?
A group of several scientists cut ties and fled. Perhaps they finally realized they were on the wrong side. We don't know what they were researching, but they were among the elusive man's top scientists. They could help build the Crucible.
didn't get him on day one, but eventually he got him.
Maybe we could recruit them. Lots of Cerberus people think they're doing the right thing.
Did more damage to
No idea.
that Scrum.
And you're right, Commander.
Punch that was
Whatever crimes Cerberus is committing now,
the sentiment among a lot of the talent
I
behind the
was
scenes
on
is
the
just
horizon
decided
when the collectors attacked.
Especially
Really?
the things that he said about
Yes.
Hitman Page.
I was visiting my family during a university holiday. While the Alliance was running studies, you were saving me and my family.
Has the Alliance tried to make contact with the scientists?
They've been unable to find them, but they're searching.
Punk is going out there going,
This is Cerberus. I've been monitoring Cerberus communications. I've checked signal frequency from various Cerberus cells by location and cross-referenced known ship movements.
When you found them?
There's no way to be certain, but I've got a definite possibility.
Nice work. Put it on the map and I'll give it a look.
It's on the map now, Commander.
With it, Hausman did kind of play along. Remember, he asked Nick Hausman, aren't you friends with him? Aren't you friends with Scott Coleman? No, as a matter of fact, I'm not. Oh, well, okay. Well, I'll go on my rant anyway. He went in there with an agenda. He made it all about him and his own personal problems. Fightful had a report saying several backstage talent stated they weren't interested in working in the same locker room with Punk. They were only told him if he made significant amends after his actions in the scrum. I don't know about you. I can't see CM Punk coming back on bended knee to apologize. That ain't gonna happen. You cannot have this man back in that locker room. By letting him go, Tony Khan is sending a message that even if you are a huge star, and for AEW, he is their biggest star. He is to them what Roman Reigns is right now to WWE, and just as far as his place in the picking order. And it doesn't matter who you are, you cannot behave like that. If you do, there are consequences. It's an amazing fall from grace. Heroes welcome one of the greatest comebacks in wrestling history. That's how loud it was. That's how genuinely happy those people were to see that man back on TV after 7 years away. People were crying. I was happy to see CM Punk back. I'm not a CM Punk hater. I was very happy to see him back. It was great to see him back on TV and get him feuding with MJF. That was the #1 feud I wanted to see when he first came back. And think of all the new faces that he had, to work with. 7 years he was away. All the new faces he had to work with, and some that he already did. We never did get that Bryan Danielson rematch that I know he wanted. Tony Khan gave this man the keys to the castle. He might have even given him an office job. He may have given him more than the keys. He may have given him his own office. He let that one slip by accident during the interview with Ariel Helwani. The one thing Tony did share with Ariel, and he did it by accident, was that Punk may have also had some kind of executive role in the company. We're not sure. But, he worked that great program with MJF. They never completed their story. It should have been Punk doing the honors for MJF and dropping the title to him in full gear, not Jon Moxley. They put the championship on him, he got hurt. They had to change their summer plans. He came back, he lost the title, won it right back, got hurt again, which forced them to change their fall plans. Although that wasn't the only thing that forced them to change their fall plans. But even if the scrum didn't go down the way that it did, Punk got hurt. So, right away, unless Tony wanted another interim champion for 8 fucking months, they were going to have to take the belt off him, and again, it ruined all of their fall plans. What should have been the summer of Punk turned into the fall of Punk, literally. He was gifted the opportunity of a lifetime, and he got paid very well to do it, and what did he do? He turned around and took a giant shit all over them. Now it looks like they're going to pay him just to go over.
People ask me all the time about Uzu and why Uzu exists, and they're actually blown away 100% of the time when they give me the answer. See, when I was 19, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and the only options that my doctor gave me were pharmaceuticals and surgery. But I went a different direction, and I used strategic supplementation and other natural healing techniques to heal myself. So everything that Uzu is fueled by.
They probably can't outright fire him because of the Bucks getting involved the way they did. That's probably where all the legal threats are coming from, or the fear of possible, legal fallout. So they'll pay him. They'll pay him to go away. And the ultimate indignity for CM Punk would be for him to go crawling back to WWE.
You know how long these scientists have been holding up here?
All of the shit
Not much
he's
in the
said
mission
about
brief.
them, all the digs that he's taken
Sir,
about
picking up chatter from the service squad engaging the supply chain.
extravaganza, if they had, they booked Ring of Honor.
Engaging the scientists?
On a shitty app and the boys wouldn't get paid for
And if I'm reading it right, sounds like more troops are on the way.
Okay, set us down and get out. We need these scientists alive.
For him to go crawling back after all of them, what a massive hypocrite he would come across as. Let's take it back. I think Triple H, to borrow a phrase from the Authority, would do what he thinks would be best for business. And Vince McMahon would do the same. Vince McMahon brought back money. In some cases, it was actually Triple H. I think you compete with him, and yes, I think
That guy!
Fox would probably love to have Punk back on TV. They love having him on FS1. Match games, they would love to get CM Punk on Saturday. So that's not the question. People ask me the question, would WWE take him back? Would he come back? You're asking the wrong question. That's not the question. The question is it worth it? The guy has been made of glass. 2 major injuries in the span of 3 months. Can he even stay healthy long enough to make a difference?
The limit super is betting the
And is it worth bringing back someone
keep moving.
behind the baggage? What's to say that
What did these people do to bring this down?
at some point that he did to Tony Khan? And he actually likes Tony. Or he liked him. And he still did what he did. Imagine what he could do working for the idiotic daughter and the son. Do not dismiss the idea of him going back to WWE. It absolutely could happen. But it's not worth the drama for Triple H. I would say thanks, but no thanks. This place. The top story in a week filled with lots of top stories was the stunning announcement that Cody and Brandy Rhodes have been with AEW since its founding are gone from All Elite Wrestling. Cody, Brandy, Tony Khan all issued statements on Tuesday morning about the news. Cody said, I have loved my time in AEW. Amazing locker room, amazing fans, amazing people. Revolution was indeed televised, and I've been incredibly lucky to be part of it. First, I want to thank Tony Khan. He's taken the baton and run with it. It was an honor to work for him and to know him on a personal level. He is a beautiful soul. Obviously, I need to thank my incredible wife and the mother of my baby girl, Brandy, for all of her love and support throughout this journey together and the amazing relationships that she fostered with Culture City and the American Heart Association. I also need to thank Nick and Matt Jackson. These two, whether they know it or not, took an undesired and not confident little cub and gifted me with the confidence to become a leader of the pack. Kenneth Omega, I love the, that's like Ronda Rousey calling Becky Rebecca on TV a few weeks ago. Kenneth Omega, Chris Jericho, we started the fire. I have so many milestones and beautiful memories of this renaissance. Sweat, blood, tears, literal fire, and all of that. I left it all on the mat. Everything pales in comparison to the final contribution I was empowered to lead in the company, the community outreach team. In the most inward moments, your outward behavior and your ability to take fame and influence and do something of value for the communities you visit is the highest honor. I'm confident that Amanda Huber will lead the department with style. I'm so proud of my creations and contributions and the items I supported or collaborated on with such wonderful professionals. Tony Khan said Cody and Brandy were integral to the launch of All Elite Wrestling. Cody's ability combined with his boldness and his passion for our industry and his love for community outreach helped AEW deliver on our mission to give fans what they needed for far too long. Something new, innovative, and lasting. And he went on to compliment Brandy as well and said he has immense respect for the both of them. So, a couple of very positive statements. Brandy put one out as well. Again, all very positive. Justin Barraza of Sports Illustrated says one of the key factors that led to Cody's exit was losing all responsibilities involving booking, which really bothered him. You know, booking was an area that Cody's father excelled at. It sounds like, to me as I read this, it sounds like maybe he was hoping to carve his own niche out in much the same way that Dusty Rhodes did. But if you remember, it was after that infamous segment on the Final Dynamite back in 2019, where the Dark Order beat down the Elite guys, which everybody panned. I mean, even Jim Ross works for the company, and he called the show, you know, later on he called it the Drizzling Shits, and said that he was embarrassed by it. After that is when Tony Khan took more control. That's when stories came out about Tony Khan consolidating more power and control over creative in the company. Not that people wouldn't have, you know, input, but he kind of saw that. He saw the fan reaction. And Tony, you know, whatever you want to say about Tony Khan, you know, a lot of times when there is some kind of negative backlash or fan reaction to something that they do, he does read that, he does see that, and he does try to do something about it. So that is when he started to exert more control over the creative end of that company. You know, certain top guys do have influence over what they do on TV. Cody was clearly one of those people. You just look at his promos. But evidently he wasn't satisfied with his lack of power in that area, and that seems to have had as much to do with his decision to leave as the money aspect. Because at the end of the day, I always say this, at the end of the day, it's always about money. You either want more of it, or you find out how much the other guys are making, and you want to be making at least as much as they are, if not more. But money talks.
Jacob.
The insider says once they hit a snag in the negotiations over money, that ultimately led to the end of their talks on Valentine's Day. The reason they were even having negotiations is because Cody and Brandi had 3-year deals that expired at the end of last year. So after Cody lost his TNT championship to Sammy Guevara in the ladder match on Dynamite, and he said, hand to God, I'm working on a handshake deal with Tony Khan, and I have no actual contract right now with the company. He was telling the truth. Negotiations on a new deal were ongoing at that point, which begs the question why Tony Khan would put one of his championships.
What are you?
I know he was an EVP and all, had a certain amount of trust, I'm sure, but still, he put one of his championships on somebody whose contract was literally expiring days later at the end of his deal.
A boost of energy and hydration to help keep going. And amino acids to help walk it off.
Save my life one more time and I'll start owning you. This one's on the house. Hey, yo. Good to see you, too. Staying out of trouble, I see. Shepard, this is Dr. Bryn Cole. She's in charge here. Tell me what's going on. Intel says you're serverless.
We're all ex-servers. Scientists, mostly.
Civilians?
Call us refugees. If we hadn't run, we'd be dead.
Why does the elusive man want to kill you?
Our stories are different, but the themes are the same. We were each using information from the collector base to work on the different components of a larger tech. After someone completed their component, they disappeared. No bodies, just gone. As we progressed, we started feeling like we were signing each other's death warrants.
The elusive man doesn't mess around. If you can't control it, you'll destroy it. The brain trust here has to be a significant loss, man. You had to know they were going to find you.
It's a pretty smart bunch. We covered our bases.
To be a breeding elusive man is one to fast. Cody had the option in his contract, just like the Young Bucks.
Time to evacuate.
Kenny Omega
Get the AA guns on the roof back on now. Cerberus
his
is killing
contract is going to be up next year.
Those guns down.
The others
Cerberus will just blow our
the option that Tony Khan could have
Might be the network link.
I'll check. He's upstairs.
AAA
Jacob, you
tested
get that
positive
going.
for COVID
I'm good.
on Monday.
I mean,
He
I
was
will.
not present backstage at Monday
Come on,
Night Raw.
I
He
should
was
say to my
following
Join me on
COVID
death
protocol as he was on Friday for SmackDown.
Jacob,
He said to be feeling fine. He was on the phone with people at the shows making sure things ran smoothly. Road Dogg
Wouldn't want you
was
to
there in
follow
person. He was running the show in his place.
We're getting out of
That's on
stuff
Monday he was. The same Road Dogg who less than 3 months ago was on Busted Open Radio begging Tony Khan for a job. The same Road Dogg who was on his Oh You Didn't Know podcast this week, revealing that Billy Gunn wanted to be part of the DX reunion on Raw 2 weeks ago, and as late as the day before, thought that he was going to be able to.
Commander,
he said, it broke my heart, and I believe it broke his too. In all actuality, Hunter was not happy about it either. Shawn and X-Pac were even, wanted the band all back together. China was there in spirit. That didn't happen. What I understand, and I'm not in those
what kind of work did you do
for my sanity.
It was
rightfully so. I don't know the exact reason. But I was told everything that we could do was done, and we couldn't come together. During the day prior, I texted him and said, hey, are you going to be able to make it? Has he found out any answers yet? He said, yes, I'm in. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. Literally before I landed at home, I found out he was not here. Texted him back and he wasn't happy. It just didn't work. I understand. WWE and AEW were not huge fans of each other from a business standpoint. It was a big deal, and I feel like he got ripped off and didn't live it with us. I'm sorry for that.
It was rudimentary at first, so I decided to take the next step. Tapped David straight into their network. It was sensory overload. No mind, even the savants, could process the barrage of information. Drove him insane.
David volunteered for this?
The elusive man connection. I was eager to please him. It seemed harmless at first.
So you forced your brother to do that?
Believe me, it's a nightmare I live every night. Went berserk. His mind became a computer virus that infected all our systems and killed dozens of lab personnel. We finally had to detonate nuclear weapons at the base to stop the havoc.
That's all, Doctor.
I appreciate your help getting us out of here, Commander.
I know he is too. Billy did an interview with Sports Illustrated, and he was asked about the whole thing, and he said, of course, I would have liked to have been there, but I understand that I work for another company. Since it's a collective decision, I'm not putting it on anyone, I'm not sour about it. They're two separate companies, and it just didn't work out. So that's the nice diplomatic answer there from Patty Hayes. Now, per Dave Meltzer in this week's Observer, WWE and AEW did have talks, and it did not involve any money being exchanged. All Tony Khan asked for, and just keep in mind who is likely feeding this information to Dave on this. Tony agreed to it, but he asked that on the air, on Monday Night Raw, they acknowledge that Billy was from AEW. Thank AEW for allowing him to appear, some such language. But there had to be some kind of wording that AEW allowed him to appear. Not unlike how WWE mentioned Impact Wrestling. They had Mickie James as the Impact Knockouts champion in this year's Royal Rumble match. So of course WWE doesn't consider Impact competition the way that they do AEW, so the two situations are not exactly the same. At that point, WWE stalled in giving them a yes or no answer, and at the very last minute, they would not agree to their request. Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select said the talks were far enough along that WWE booked travel arrangements for Billy to come to Brooklyn for the show, and they even considered putting an AEW logo somewhere on the screen, maybe in the lower third during the segment, but at the last minute they decided against it. Maybe they didn't want a building full of scissor meat daddy ass chicks. Maybe that's what it was. Why would Tony Khan ever entertain the idea the last time he allowed Billy on their television? Triple H called AEW and said,
and make sure there's something to get out of the second shot.
Already dropped one box. My hands are shaking so hard.
You're going to make it.
He was sitting there at the dais, he was sitting at the table.
What's the status of your guns?
Still waiting. I have my best people.
How many scientists are here?
43, plus research assistants.
You ran with over 40 people.
When you fear for your life, there's a lot you can do.
Brent, I can't possibly dismantle the genetic amplification components in time.
I'm sorry, Dr. Boehner. It's important work, but right now you need to tend to your family.
Wait, there are families here? Children?
That just upped the ante.
He's out there comparing himself to Jim Crockett. Now I know how it feels. Between that and all of the reports of contract tampering, he was so mad. He sat there in the scrub and he said, "I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit." Those were his exact words. This is the president and CEO of the company sitting there saying this.
So these refugees brought everyone with them?
Like, oh yeah, sure, no
Yes.
problem, Billy.
We have about 17 kids
Billy
here.
can go play with
Partners,
toys.
spouses, parents.
Get the hell out of here.
I promised these people refuge.
Tell
Many of
Billy
them
he's
strangers,
wrong. Take the
so
scissors away from him. Send him to
never
his room.
imagined
Tell
the
the other
abuse of
parents to
man.
go fuck
That's what evil counts on. It is hard for good people to imagine.
to begin with, but that's how he really feels.
Okay. Everyone left gets out of here alive. This escape will have to be carefully executed.
I'd hoped.
What's the news?
Can't tell. Only know I can't fix it from here. We're going to the roof. Servers landed a shuttle there a couple minutes ago. When?
Jacob, your agent. I'll fix the guns.
No way. These are my people. I'm going.
Just because you survived one suicide mission doesn't mean you get two.
Fine. But I'm going to talk to you shortly here. Cerberus is probably jamming the satellite. Radio me when you found the controls and I'll give you the override.
He posted a comment
Will
in
do.
response to the video saying, "Fuck you, dude, return the title."
Dr. Cole? Got him on?
Of course.
Thanks.
Thank you again for everything.
Leave those things. Let's just get the hell out of here.
Shut up. I'm in here.
Hey, you okay? How have you been?
Give us a minute. This is crazy. I didn't think I'd ever see you again.
I know the feeling. So how'd you become a gun for hire?
Long story. It was an opportunity I couldn't resist for people I came to care about.
You seem good. Look good.
These are great people. Defending their ideals. I like it. I can back down where I'm meant to do.
Into an angle. Vic Joseph on NXT last week, because the Good Brothers made
I should focus on getting these people out of
He
here.
even acknowledged
You
on
bet.
TV that Carl
Let's get
Anderson
to
is
it.
still a champion in Japan. He didn't say New Japan, but he said he's a champion in Japan right now. And like I said, I think he'll be allowed to work the Dome show and drop the belt the right way. I have to think he would have cleared all of this with...
You can't tell me you haven't been with anyone since you joined the military.
I'm not that serious. But WWE, before he put pen to paper... Triple H tested positive for COVID on Monday, and he was not.
I'm not going to die to see Christina.
Let me. I'll go with you.
We should go to Sanctuary. We don't let's just move it and get out of here.
What would these people have done if we hadn't shown up?
Badly equipped, guns offline. It would have been a massacre.
have to jump.
He tries to. I think that wants to basically recommendation of what it tastes like. I've asked Thomas before how does he hear his voice because all of his jobs are voice centric. Yes. And don't you? He gave me like it was like.
Where's that satellite tower?
Jacob, you should be back online now. Hostile plant there.
Ring of Honor, even seemed like what was your thoughts? Felt like a kid. Shane's not here. Like a Shane, so there is a wall that comes from somebody who is such a fan of buying products of the ROH previously owned by Sinclair and Tony passionate, focused energy, better words when it comes to wrestling. So I think it's a nice way to set up Brian Daniels. That's why we're talking about it today. For me, I think AEW can felt like a bucket. And there's times when some of the spiritual success of the Ring of Honor has very much work rate style of playing. And it has the same goals there. They didn't even Ring of Honor conception because of being he's 16. We're Ring of Honor candidates. And it's just initially I was thinking, oh, this would be a great way to have a sense of the that we can all have a third option for choice. Since then, we've seen quite a lot of Ring of Honor influence on AEW TV. I think what's the best thing about that, like what has it, what's the best thing about maybe not on TV, the SDR original thing, about the fight was small, the great matches were quite at the same time, that's the thing, yeah, he said that in the corner, we were thinking about the question, trying to answer and it's like, what has been in the TV, why Ring of Honor's presence? And it's a hard thing to answer. It's really yes, yeah, I mean, we had an Asian recently where that doesn't make any kind of Ring of Honor done. Yeah, for that reason, so they
we have to get up there and that's a good day, John.
This is good. In case, I don't know, pretty much all your backstage things get suspended for time. It's your chance to be also, at the time of recording, we've not seen it fully developed yet. I wouldn't say I'm like really enjoying it, but I'm intrigued by the character. Storyline because he's facing some former champion, so you can so as we record this, he's just been an old cut. That's quite exciting. It gets the most more children on the TV. There's lots of I think also when he announced, when Tony Khan announced that he was buying the company, they also announced in a press release that he's got the whole company, including all the tape library and all sorts of stuff like that. Lots of people were worried about what happened with the Ring of Honor tape library. If it just disappeared, the company right. It sounded Tony Khan. Yeah, he's just, you know, there's some steps of the couple of guys. They can left over and just all the that's what Tony Khan's doing now. He is library.
The other guy killed that. Let's get over there.
Has added discipline to what we saw immediately after the company, CM Punk MJF. He came out to the ring and very Ring of Honor. They should end up walking on clear, right? It's like maybe let people know. Wait, just in case. Just kidding.
Okay. One of us has to make these repairs. Jared, you do the repair. Will do. Ready at? Just you with me.
You betcha.
I'll repair. We'll do as fast as I can.
Stars and particularly championships further down. Not long ago, the AEW a bit of a hot topic, believe it or not, it was. I mean, like it's the match with Cody had it, and the defenses against the Anderson like David Martin storytelling. We're averaging about one defense a month of the TNT title held by just checking it out.
Copy that. Let's get these people out of here.
He won the face of the revolution, not a match. It looked like he was the future, and now he's found himself, at least for now.
Okay. The guns are all ready for you. First ship's up in the sky. Where are we at?
On track. First
story
is already done with everyone under 16.
Everyone else is kind of involved on that side with Joe and FTR.
What's our best
Very Ring of
chance?
Honor right now with the title.
Jacob, what do you think?
Why have you got
Are we ready?
Almost.
He's got a belt, like, he's got
There's
the
no
singles belt.
duels.
He shouldn't be in a tag team.
Great. We get one shot.
Don't enemy on the
You don't talk about him.
Your call.
I'm Jon Snow. I've killed dead men in Coronathan, but I'm scared of naked girls.
I seemed scared the other day.
You were trembling like a leaf.
Only in the beginning.
Only in the beginning. You're a proper lover, Jon Snow.
Let's get these shuttles in the
Don't
air.
worry. The secret's safe with me.
Secret.
Do you think I was built with all those girls in silk dresses you knew growing up?
Got the guns punch a hole in the perimeter and launch shuttle one.
And you're brave.
Ring of Honor big singles bell. A lot of titles. 2 hours of TV and then another hour of TV on Friday. They get a bit of a show in on Yeah, dark
All right, everyone here, head to the shuttle bay.
AEW Women's Ring of
Damn it, I called it.
Get those people out of here.
I called it too early. Damn.
Shepard, shuttles are loaded. We need you at the landing area to make sure they get away. I'll meet you down there.
Tailored to Turians. Double time it. Clear the shuttle bay first so we can bring the door up. Then get out to the landing pad.
Right behind you.
Jacob, bring up the main door.
Got it, Shepard. Will do.
Okay, let's get these people out of here. Here we go! Enemy shuttles on either side.
Got it. Moving in.
Take out that shield generator.
2 shuttles remaining.
Jacob, come in. What's your status?
Shepard, the facility's overrun. Cerberus troops are all over the place.
One more shuttle of refugees to go, right?
Affirmative.
We got this. Just need to hold them a little longer. That was the last of the civilians.
Shepard, heads up! The place is overrun. We gotta go. Headed to you with the shuttle.
Understood. Landing area cleared.
This place is crawling. Bringing the shuttle to you.
Roger that.
the skin of our teeth again, eh, Shepard?
Nice to see you back in action.
Yeah, feels good.
I was afraid we wouldn't get anyone out alive. But because of you, we got almost everyone. Thank you.
Dr. Cole, I have a request. One you can't afford to turn down. I need your help against the Reapers.
Without a doubt. I'm at your service. And I'm sure you can count on the others as well.
You too, Jacob. I need you.
Of course, but I wouldn't mind staying with these folks.
Keep him safe, then. The Alliance needs that crucible.
You got it.
All right. Report to Admiral Hackett for your assignment.
You know, Commander, I've never met anyone like you. Just feel better knowing you're on our side.
Thanks.
Shepard, when this mess is over, drinks are on me. Be safe out there.
Hackett here.
I'm sending you a large team of scientists.
I have the dossier.
They're all Cerberus defectors. Keep them safe.
Will do, and I'll put them straight to work on the Crucible.
Jacob Taylor is with them and is already working to find a place for the families.
He'll be a valuable asset as well. Snagging Dr. Cole from the Elusive Man is a coup. Having her on our side could be a huge win for us.
The sooner we can get the Crucible finished, the better I'll feel.
I'm with you.
Shepard out.
Commander, Admiral Anderson is available on VidCom.
So, Reapers don't have colonies. You can't bomb them, or you're bombing what's left of your own planet. They made their own soldiers out of our civilians. They don't have supply lines. How do you beat something like that?
I'll let you know if I think of something.
Commander, Dr. Chakwas sent word that she'd like to speak with you down in the medbay.
But physical connection is just
I low-key like this game, so I'm gonna keep going, but
aspect of a relationship.
in a way, I am kind of grinding for that.
Strong.
It's been a long time.
She wants to make sure the emotional connection is also just as strong. So it's more important for her to spend their alone time strengthening that than it is to dive into each other, which Hannah knows would be very easy to do. Tyler's a snack and a half, and Tyler, well, he's an absolute gent about it all.
You have to really love and respect and honor each other's boundaries, you know, and like I would never press you or pressure you at all.
Of course Tyler respects that. A real man can sweep you off your feet and not pressure you all at the same time.
I look at the man I am today is not the same kid I was 9 weeks ago.
So the two go into the fantasy suite and talk and hold restraint, developing their emotional connection and the trust that their relationship is physical chemistry.
He was the most respectful man that's ever been with me. Ever.
That's high praise, and it puts Hannah into a pensive place, reflecting on other relationships. Cough, Luke. But next up is Jed, and Jed's still upset about Luke not going home at the last rose ceremony and it being down to him and Luke.
But I don't want to let someone else affect our relationship,
he says before making the entire date about someone else. Because while Hannah and Jed enjoy Greek culture at a local family gathering, Jed has one thing on his mind. How do I get Hannah to dump me? I need clarity on Luke. Yes, of course, this is about Luke.
You want to marry? You think about?
That's one sheepish nod, Jed. And all through this date, Jed's just making faces that really look like he wants to be there. Eventually, he pulls Hannah away for a talk. He doesn't understand why Luke is still here.
I just don't fully understand how you can be as amazing as you are and even consider someone like him.
And Hannah opens up about her connection with Luke.
I can't believe Jed
The night portion of their date where,
lasted so
guess
long.
what? It's more talk about Luke. And it's weird to see this date knowing what we know about Jed, because when he talks about her and Luke's relationship and says
a lot about your decisions. When you can look at me and tell me that you're falling in love with me, but then also keep around somebody who's been toxic.
You can't help but wonder if Jed has "dumped me" written all over his face. So with all this talk about Luke and Hannah's decisions with him, she gets upset and leaves. They waddle around for a moment, and when they come back, Hannah says she
should have been with me and not him.
Figured it out all on her own.
I like it. This isn't me trying to hurt you in any way.
The two end the conversation back on love and decide they're cool enough to head into the fantasy suite for the night. Jed and Hannah wake up, and I honestly can't believe there's no guitar in the bed with them. So Jed gets sent away.
You could have loved me.
Last up, Luke. The two take a helicopter ride to Santorini, and Hannah has some thoughts about her and Luke.
I feel like he's at his best with me when nobody else sees that.
Hannah, that's called a giant red flag. When the helicopter lands, they arrive right at the night portion of the date because, let's be real, this is what we all came to see. Fast forward through them smiling and kissing, and let's
I mean, they did it afterwards, and they could have
sit down and cheers to a beautiful day in Santorini.
They could have like been in a relationship or something, but they chose not to, so clearly it didn't work out.
Here we go. Get your popcorn out, folks. Luke starts talking about keeping the marriage bed pure. How he's heard people on the show, quote, proclaim their faith, and then talk about exploring a sexual relationship with someone in the fantasy suite. As if those are mutually exclusive things. And that he, quote, wants to hear it from Hannah's mouth that she feels the same way. That exploring a sexual relationship outside of marriage is over the line.
If you told me you're having sex or you had sex with one or multiple of these guys.
But the guy who looks like Tyler and Jed combined.
This starts the slow burn. Hannah, truly befumbled at this point, starts to turn.
It's just that you're questioning me, that you're judging me, and feel like you have the right to when you don't at this point.
And she continues that if this is a faith-based concern, there's more than just the sin of intimacy that Luke has to worry about.
But guess what? Sex might be a sin out of marriage. Pride is a sin too, and I feel like this is like a pride thing.
So Luke continues that if she did have sex with the other men, he'd be willing to work through this. But that's the point. The fact that it would be something to work past. That it's a shame Hannah should feel if she did that. That's the problem. I'm gonna throw this quote out right now.
I'm a grown woman and can make my own decisions, and I'm not strapped to a man right now.
Then Hannah starts to continue, and as she's doing so, she begins by saying the closest thing she's had to love at first sight is when she saw Luke. Makes a lot of sense.
Hello? What about Katie Thurston season, huh?
In the midst of all this...
Ever hear the name Archangel?
The thing that I've ever felt to love at first sight was probably with you. And
that speaks to how out of touch he is, how self-focused he is. This is a heavy conversation, and Hannah is expressing serious feelings and thoughts to him in a very serious tone that is potentially relationship ending. And when she says that,
she dated John.
He smiles. It's
exposure and malnutrition.
Which of course he isn't. He hasn't been doing it all season. Don't you worry, Luke. You won't be smiling in a moment.
Precisely.
Perhaps you can apply your charms to broker a trade.
I'll find the refugees as soon as I can.
Speak with Cactus. Many of the refugees near the Citadel docks look to him for leadership. Thank you, Commander.
Like 1919.
With access to their equipment and materials, I believe I could increase the effectiveness of our medicine.
Thank you in case I don't thank you enough.
You've been through a lot, Scars. You giving up? Nah, I got more. Just don't like to talk about it. Fair enough. We've all got one of those.
And I wanna say thank you in case I don't thank you enough. And I wanna say thank you in case I don't.
Sorry, that video offended so many other things. But let me just try to wrap my head around this. So, if I'm not into Asian guys, I am into Asian girls, so by the way. So, if I'm not into Asian guys, it's internalized racism. But if I'm into white or black guys, it's a fetish. So, do you want me to be out loud?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Hannah explains that him saying Hannah having sex would make her less of a woman of faith, and implying it would mean she's not on the same page as him, and he would have to work past it to bring her on the same page. For her, it's a big slap in the face, when this whole time, she could have X'd him off for a number of things this season, both faith-based and otherwise. Pride, not respecting your neighbors, and then Luke follows by saying, oh, it's okay if you slipped up. But again, he's not listening. He's not getting the point. It's not a slip-up, it's her choice. Hannah then brings up a Bible story of a woman said to be stoned for committing adultery.
And Jesus is there and he's like, you without sin throw the first stone. What you just did was you're holding your stone up at me.
And for me, that's the end of any faith-based argument here. Let he or she who's without sin cast the first stone. And that's it for Hannah too. She asks him to leave, and he says, quote,
Are we settling in?
I actually feel somewhat useful. It's been challenging to integrate data feeds for the website.
And I did.
Our systems holding.
It was actually
The accuracy of our warm data is a direct result of her work.
Thank you, Edie.
Let me know.
Still getting used to all of this. In the lab, we hoard everything. Piles of tech everywhere. Out here, it's like leaving out the shoebox.
Jordan, Bregman's been stepping up. We said it in the... One ball, two strikes. Judge on the ground. Presley's got it. Easy flip. Ball game over. And the Houston Astros win the American League pennant. The Astros are going...
Dramatic season finale of The Bachelorette has begun, and we're going to be jumping right into the recap. But very quickly, just before that, I would like to bring up the video scheduling for Bachelor in Paradise. Now, for the first 2 weeks of Paradise, I'll be coming out with one longer video recapping both Monday and Tuesday episode that will come out early Thursday. Then during week 3, I'll either switch back to a video for episode, or if the longer one goes well, we can keep with that. There have been some real-life scheduling complications throughout. Nothing bad, don't worry, and it will only be for those first 2 weeks of August. And I want to ensure that I put out a quality video each time. I'll still be doing live tweets and live streams with the show. I just don't know if during that week I'll be able to do 2 immediate videos without rushing them and losing quality. So this is the PSA for next week, in case Tuesday goes by and you're wondering why there's no video. It will be coming, I promise. But for now, there's a finale to recap. And this one started off with a small teaser of what's to come for the finale. In it, we got some new, never-before-seen footage.
Scars that have been on my heart is because of people not being honest.
It's the shocking two-night television event of the summer. This is where the darkest timeline begins. Originally, I tweeted that during this footage I didn't see an engagement ring because of this shot, with Hannah double facepalming. No ring. But now that I've been able to review the tape, there. Engagement ring. So, what does this mean? Well, Hannah talking about honesty seems like it could only be about Jed and everything that's come out about him and his girlfriend. And if she's got a ring on, she's found out about it after an engagement. She then takes it off, probably because she's ending things with her fiancé. So, all signs point to Jed being the one she picks in the end, them getting engaged, and then breaking up. And as we all digest this footage, Chris Harrison pops out to begin the night, live from Bachelor Studio.
No idea if that's what it's called, but hey, of course. He sends us back to the final 3 rose ceremony that's still going on 2 weeks ago. Luke has been sent home, Chris Harrison puts back the rose stand, things are back to normal, and Hannah has to make a decision. Which of these men must go? And while she can see herself with all 3, there can be only one in the end. Jed gets the first rose, and it's down to 2.
Just our way of welcoming you back, Lieutenant.
What follows is an emotional sending off of Peter and Hannah's relationship. For Hannah, it's a moment where she can't say anything to Peter about why it was him. There's nothing wrong with him. Peter has had, in so many ways, all the qualities she dreamed her husband would have when she was a little girl. It's just, he's not the one.
I did not see that coming at all.
We then cut back to the live segment of the show where Chris Harrison is sitting down with Peter. And while it's been hard to watch the breakup, we must look at the bright side here. We get to see Peter's family again.
Barbara, Peter, and Jack are here. Your mom's gone through a box of Kleenexes.
Yeah. So Peter begins to unpack his journey with Chris, from when he first fell in love with Hannah as the fireworks went off in Latvia, his hometown date and hesitating to say I love you, finally saying it, the windmill, and then the breakup. Chris then asks if Peter's still in love with Hannah.
I know time will heal all wounds, and like I said, a little piece of my heart will always love her.
Of course, next they bring out Hannah to sit down and talk to Peter for the first time since the breakup. Peter asks her what the moment was where she knew it wasn't going to be him in the end.
I don't know. I was falling in love with you, but I was falling for 2 other guys too.
She also says she didn't know for sure what she was doing until the morning of the rose ceremony. And I really do believe she was thinking it would be Peter and Jed in the final 2 until Tyler's fantasy suite date. And one thing Hannah brings up in reflection is that Peter seemed apprehensive about sharing his feelings. Thus the storyline of will he or won't he say I love you.
I wish I would have known a little bit sooner about how you felt. And you would have told me maybe, because I'm scared. I was scared.
She mentions that she could feel what he felt, but still needed him to say it. That's why she felt the relationship was like a slow burn. It moved forward and always progressed, but it was slow. It's hard for her to say why it wasn't Peter, but that's one thing she thinks happened. Chris Harrison then says, well, at the very least, because of you 2, we'll never look at a windmill the same way again. And Hannah says she was actually dishonest about the whole 2 times in the windmill thing.
It was actually...
And Hannah says she was actually dishonest about the whole 2 times.
It was actually...
Says, well, at the very least, because of you 2, we'll never look at a windmill the same way again. And Hannah says she was actually dishonest about the whole 2 times in the windmill thing.
It was actually 4 times.
The best part of this is Peter's family's reaction, like,
Dad, I learned on Amazon Kids Plus that 4 is 2 to the 2nd power is like shooting lasers from my eyes can see in the dark. And
Commander
I have to
Shepard.
stay up all night.
You must be
I wish
taxed.
I was now
Heard the refugees consider you their leader.
Yeah.
Peter's segment finished his back
Sort
to
out this
Greece,
mess.
and it's time for Tyler and Jed to meet Hannah's family. And
C6
first up is
is
Tyler.
tight access
Now
to the
before the family
Citadel.
meets
We've
him,
got
Hannah
desperate
starts to
people
brief
down
them
here
on
with no
her
place to
relationship with
go.
Tyler. She talks about how with Tyler she
also
Also here you need basic
love
medical
or falling
supplies.
in lust with him.
Dr. Shockwave spoke of a mutually beneficial
Their
trade.
relationship was so much more than being physical,
I'm trying to be
and that
clear.
they didn't need
In
to
my
use the
experience,
fantasy
the
suite
Alliance
sex.
looks out for
But
their
take a
own.
look at how happy
Trust
Papa
is a
Brown
hard
is
thing
here.
to come by these days.
He's like, I just want you to know there's so much more for me than that.
I
He
know you
just
need our
was like,
military
there's a time for
supplies,
that.
but they're
I
worth
just
far
want
more
to
than
be
your
with you.
basic meds.
I think that was the note that I made. Like,
So Tyler comes in to meet the family, and he gets off to a good start.
Are you nervous meeting us?
No, I was excited. You guys should be so proud of this girl, the way she's conducted herself. And
Looks like Papa Brown has fallen for Tyler just like the rest of us. First, Tyler sits down with Hannah's mom. He talks about his parents' divorce, using that as an example of what he doesn't want and knowing the warning signs of a bad marriage. He says he's an open book and he wants to be his husband and best friend.
No
And Mama Brown is all smiles.
That is very generous, Commander.
Tyler
Are you
just
sure?
kind of blew me away today. He was pretty amazing all the way around.
Next is the sit down with Hannah's
Actually,
dad.
give me some
They
time.
talk
We'll
about
be
the night
here.
in the fantasy suite how Tyler's dad got sick, and that's what makes him suspect for him, and where he stands on his relationship with Hannah.
I don't have any
More people lead our supplies. Mine people need every inch they can get. For combat-grade meds, we'll make a difference.
Papa Brown's
And our mission may just save everyone. Now is not the time for pettiness or mistrust. With day-to-day worries, it's easy to forget we're all in this together. I'll have my people contact you. You'll have your supplies as soon as possible.
Trying to give them a better shot, but yesterday the bar was out.
So after a short talk about the journey so far, it's time for Jed to sit down with Papa Brown. And Mr. Brown wants to know about Jed's goals in life. So of course Jed talks about his music career and all the major milestones he's achieved today.
My most major accomplishments is that I signed a deal with a dog food company.
I've assumed full control of the Eclipse, and we're committed to moving forward with Clara.
My daughter.
By the way, of course it took about 2 years to self-define the Jinx. Better or more, your dog deserves the best. Check it out on YouTube for yourself, but here's a snippet. So both of Hannah's parents have concerns about Jed.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
First, they're not thrilled about the precariousness of Jed's music, but there also is other stuff too. In talking to Hannah, Mr. Brown
Miranda says she's
Tyler was
in.
very direct in his responses, and Jed
She's around here. Oh, she's at the Citadel.
Stretches things out a little bit longer and just not direct answers. Just
Hey, wouldn't it be funny if the reason why Jed was giving you direct answers and stretching things out was because he was actually hiding something? Wait. So things with Jed are starting to get confusing for Hannah, especially with the family's stellar endorsement of Tyler and lukewarm reaction to Jed. But Hannah has one last chance for clarity with the final one-on-one dates of the season ahead. First up, of course, is Tyler, as everything on this date is easy. Tyler returns to face his fear of horses and, against all odds, overcomes the fear for Hannah. They have a picnic and then head inside for the night portion of their date to talk about the future of their relationship. And all of Bachelor Nation is like, duh. Then it's time for Jed. The two set off on a sailing adventure, and even Mother Nature is Team Tyler.
I don't know if I like all these rocky waters.
While it was smooth sailing on Tyler's date, it's rocky waters with Jed. Hannah then, along with all of Bachelor Nation, hucks over the side of the boat. And the uneasiness carries over into the final part of their date. Hannah is anxious about making a
Explains why
choice
I
and the
only
way
like
things went with her
finish
family.
half of my
Jed tries to
sentence.
reaffirm her.
I just cannot, in any part of myself, picture my life without you at this point.
But will it be enough? Jed walks off, and it's time for Hannah to make her decision, which we'll find out in just a few hours. So thanks for watching this Bachelorette breakdown of the finale, part 1. We'll be back tonight with the finale of the finale, including who Hannah's going to pick, Jed, and what could possibly be a dramatic breakup. See you all in a few hours. Until then, Bachelor Fante, out.
Somewhere Luke P's just exploded.
Traditional office spaces needed to change because when the world was sent to work from home, people realized that they had control over their environment. So right now, that commercial workspace has to be even better than the home environment to draw people out of their homes. Top House is a full-service design firm, so our team is comprised of interior designers, industrial designers, and environmental designers. Design has changed dramatically in the last 2 years specifically. It used to be that the objective of office space was how many people can I get into a square footage of space, where there's basically seas of workstations. And what really companies were starting to realize was that that wasn't fostering productivity or engagement in any sense. It was not quiet for them to do heads down focus work, but it also...
Last night, on The Bachelorette.
Choose me. Marry me. Let me make you happy.
We've made it to the end of The Bachelorette, and what a journey it's been. Now, it may not have been the fairy tale ending we were hoping for, but thank goodness it was at least a happy one. After all the downs and or downs that Hannah went through to see even the tiniest morsel of romance at the end. Which really is what this is supposed to be about. Now, before we get into the recap, I want to mention a couple of things. Don't worry, the recap is coming. First thing is, as I brought up in yesterday's recap, Paradise's video schedule. For the first 2 weeks, I'll be doing one long video recap on Thursday for both episodes of Paradise. Real life is being real life, and I'd rather get a proper video out instead of rushing through it. Had a lot of fun yesterday dealing with a huge string of copyright claims on my videos from Warner Chappell Music. Videos that have had no problems before and been up in some cases for months. Now, this isn't the company which normally deals with bachelor footage like clips from the show. Most every time I've had a situation like that, it's fine as my videos are fair use. And I've never really had a problem dealing with them. These new ones are claiming entire videos as, quote, cover songs, which I'm not sure what that means, as I'm not doing a cover song of anything.
Oh, wait, I might have screwed up.
Whenever someone on YouTube makes a copyright claim against you, they must timestamp it. So you know what part they're talking about, and you can either mute it or put music over it, or you have better information to be able to dispute it. YouTube themselves have stated this, and that timestamping whole videos is failing to provide accurate timestamp data and a violation of their manual claiming guidelines. And pretty much all the ones that were claimed for me were almost entire videos. I mostly just want clarity on this, as it's quite frustrating. Sections of videos where it's just me talking are being claimed. The only clue I have is that these are composition claims, or so it says. So I imagine it's maybe the music in the background of some of the clips they're trying to claim. So I'm going to try a little experiment for this video. No music. If there's a clip from the show I plan to use and it has music, I'll just frickin' describe what happens, make it stupid, or put silly music over it. And if you hate it, hey, feel free to go on my Twitter. I've sent out a tweet and a retweet to the YouTube creator and team YouTube pages, along with a ticket to creator support, so you can go there on Twitter and like the tweet or retweet it to try and speed things up, or just show support for the channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll be posting any updates on the matter there as well. Also, if you Google Warner Chappell Music and YouTube copyright, this isn't the first time they've caused frustrations for creators. And really, the last thing I want to do is sit here and talk to y'all about YouTube copyright fun. In the end, even if the company is taking all or a portion of the revenue I get from this, which has slowly allowed me to take time off my day job and focus more on the channel, I'm still going to find a way to get quality content out. And we're here to recap the show, which last night's was wild. We went from the darkest timeline to the brightest, or at least as bright as it could possibly have gotten with all the mess that's happened with Jed. So we were once again back in Crete, and it's time for Hannah to make her decision. Tyler or Jed? Hunk or jump? We go through a sequence of shots of everyone looking pensively off in the distance. Tyler just decided to sit on some rocks, and I hope that's not Jed writing another song. Tyler and Jed then come down to visit Neil Lane and pick out their rings for Hannah and the final rose ceremony. Oh, I'm sorry, there's some light guitar playing in the background here, so I can't show the clip. You know what, I'll just double it. This one almost represents our love more, just because of the oval shape, and it's kind of more of a constant, and also because I've constantly been lying to her. I don't know if you can tell, but I've been practicing my Jed impression, and I think it's really coming along. So Hannah and the men are getting ready for this final moment, the last rose ceremony. And the most important thing to note is who comes out of the limo first. If you're unfamiliar with the show, whoever is the first one out of the limo is always the person getting dumped. It's just bachelor law. They want to save the happy ending, or what's normally the happy ending, for the end. And the dumping first will get to the romance, but the pressure is getting to her. She's unsure, and the anxiety is mounting. But after jumping out of the van and scraping her elbow, she gets enough clarity and courage to make her way to the rose ceremony.
Stop the car.
So, who's it going to be? Here's the first one. Oh, sorry, there's a bit of a light drone sound in the background of the clip here. That's just unacceptable. So enjoy the music I put over this, whatever it is. It's Tyler. No! No! So Tyler gets to Hannah and begins his speech, but we all know where this is going. Hannah stops him and sends him home. Just tear my frickin' heart out! And all at once, the sound of a million people entering Tyler's DMs are heard in Jupiter, Florida. even in the face of heartbreak, Tyler continues to be too good to be true. He wishes Hannah and Jed the best life together and gets into the back of the limo. And okay, it's time for Jed to propose, I guess. And of course, on his way to propose, he brought his guitar with him. So Jed walks up to the final rose ceremony, guitar in hand, because this is about Hannah now and no longer about his music career. And then he sings a song. Here's what it sounded like to me. Jed stands there, ready for Hannah's reaction. Will he be the one she chooses? Oh, sorry, there's a little bit of light music in the background of this 2 seconds fair use. So that means it's impression time once more. You loved me, challenged me, moved me, and it's made me love you so much.
I'm glad to see you.
That does not look like the reaction of a man who's happy about this. He's like, dang it, Jed, how...
So, you and I both focus on the NBA so heavily, but you and I defer when it comes to which teams will be in the Western Conference Finals. You have the Clippers and the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Why? I'm going with the teams that have elite players on the roster. Also, Klay Thompson, Paul George, and Sabonis. The Golden State Warriors have that championship pedigree. They have that unique blend of depth of young players. Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, quality games. Wiggins is more confident along with George, who they both just got paid. And for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard returns the flaw. The best two-way player along with Giannis in the league. And the Clippers have never been to an NBA Finals. They're deeper than they've ever been. No one talks about Zubac. I love the way he competes as a big in the paint, plays big, dunks, keeps the ball high, blocks shots, contest shots, grab, rebound. That's going to be crucial. The depth they added on the wing with Covington and Powell. Adding John Wall to go with the depth that they already have in their backcourt. Both of these teams have elite coaches. Steve Kerr, I overheard what you said.
eight-time champion.
Found this in the server station.
Poison
Taylor to
on the
Turner.
other side. For me, he's top 2 or 3 in the game right now. I feel like both of these squads are the best, the deepest. They're both going to have things to prove. The Golden State Warriors, can they overcome the Draymond incident? For the Clippers, can they overcome what has been seemingly like a curse for decades? This is my choice for the Western Conference Finals.
So it's hard to disagree with you, especially because of the Tyronn Lue aspect. I think that people don't take that into account enough, what a great coach he is. However, I have the Nuggets going against the Warriors, and Clippers Nuggets, what it really depends on is health. If you have Jamal Murray playing like he can play, if you have Michael Porter Jr. being the actualization of the prospect that he was coming out of high school and college, then I believe the Nuggets will be in the Western Conference Finals with the Warriors. But it all has to do with health, just like the Clippers. Can you depend on Kawhi to play 70 games a season? Probably not. Can you depend on PG to play an entire season? Probably not. But the Clippers, the Nuggets, either one of those, depending on health, will end up in the finals with the Warriors. But the Warriors we both have in the finals, and you can't forget about the stretch run. I think that Nikola Jokic will end up winning his third straight MVP because he dragged his team to a great place last year, and I feel like something that doesn't involve finding great better roster around him. I don't think they've come from Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. Then, if this was my last Eastern Conference Finals, I'd actually like to remember. See, the Warriors have a stranglehold on the West Coast, and then now LeBron is there. But since the King left the East, it's been a revolving door. Toronto Raptors won the conference championship. Miami Heat won the conference. Where we go?
Bucks
Somewhere we're not supposed to.
won the championship.
Something's never changed, dude. Never have that one thing you always wanted to do before you die. Too busy trying to live. What's yours? The whole time I worked in CSEC, I'd stare up on top of the city and say to myself, I want to go up there. But I never did. There were 137 regulations telling me I could. So you got me changed? No. But also, now I just don't give a damn.
Tyrese Maxey, the ascension that he's made as a player,
I figured it's time to do something stupid just for the hell of it. Might be the last chance.
The depth that they have defensively with Thibault, they still have him.
A
veteran like Tobias Harris is also
about to dive in the pool.
And because the competitiveness up front. I just think they're a deep.
So you obviously have some tourists. It's a lot of flailing and splashing and protopipation.
Like they got a squad. So I feel like
you're right. I just have to save your ass again. Did make up for all the times I pulled your ass out of the fire. Bavaria, Barrows, Ilos.
That's what I'm betting. Like, I'm betting that Iceberg
times like these, you know who your real friends are.
Just saw the Ghost
They're not the ones running around looking for an escape.
He was so mad that he asked.
They're the ones who stand at your side when the worst. Never give up. I'm lucky I can say I know something like that. So am I.
He did ask for everybody to be fired.
You're not going to lose those marriage.
He is on the Brooklyn Nets, and he's in Nets uniform. The league so quick that from the suburbs just saw the Golden State Warriors win the championship. And he was so mad that he asked for a trade. And he was really upset. He wanted everybody fired.
Just saying someone.
Now the Nets, I'm literally betting on KD and Kyrie.
Let's find out.
That's what I'm betting. Yep. I'm betting that Iceberg Slim shooting 3 from the suburbs just saw the Golden State Warriors win the championship. And he was so mad that he asked for a trade. And he was really upset. He wanted everybody fired. John Marks, Steve Nash didn't ask for a trade. He did ask for everybody to be fired. Not that. Like he is on the Nets. He's in the Nets uniform. But we so quickly forget. He said, I don't want to be here, and I want all of you fired. I want everybody fired on the entire roster. And you know how everybody received that? You right, KD. You right, KD. Because we know you're going to respond this year and play at an MVP level, which he was doing last year. And here comes Kyrie. He didn't have to get vaccinated to now play home games, Jacoby. He was 28, 5-5 last year. And the oohs and ahs of playing in Brooklyn and putting on the show in front of those home fans. Get your shooters back in Steph Curry and Joe Harris. I like what they're doing at center, the young bigs they have. And the wild card, you know what it is. Ben Simmons. That's the wild card. Ben Simmons can stay healthy. Like, yes, sir. I am the same person that thought that Russell Westbrook would work on the Lakers. But I am the same person that feels like this Nets team is going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. Am I crazy? I feel like Ben Simmons is a perfect fit for this roster. I feel like they get Joe Harris back. They've got Seth Curry, Kyrie, KD, Claxton. I really feel like this Nets team is the best team in the Eastern Conference. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.
What if we told you that our technology removes CO2 from the air? We are Climeworks, the leaders in direct air capture. We built a safe and effective technology powered only by renewable.
Today, I get to play English teacher because English was my favorite subject in school. So did you guys ever do this in English? The who, what, when, where, why exercise. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Ricky was at recess. So we're going to do that now to start the NBA season. So how this is going to work, I'd like each of you to please take a category, and we are going to start with, I love that I have a whiteboard for this. This makes me happy. Chiney Ogwumike. Yes. The who of the NBA season.
So who is going to win MVP this year? I feel like every time a new season starts, it's an open slate for someone to start strong and insert themselves into the conversation. And if you look at the odds, do you know who's number one in the odds? Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, number one. Giannis, 2 for MVP winner. And then 3 Embiid. If you think about that big 3, it's going to be fascinating because the Mavs, if they can pick up where they finished the season, mind you, that's the Western Conference Finals, Luka Doncic can absolutely be MVP. And everyone knows his talent deserves that. The question is, will his team propel him into that position? Because typically, apart from Jokic, top 1 or 2 in your conference wins MVP. Now we move to Giannis. I mean, like, y'all, we all know Giannis can win an MVP as well. But the question is, when he becomes 3-time MVP, what does that put him in the category of? Like, Dr. J, like, how do we feel about people transitioning into the greatness of the top 3 or so, 3-time winners, 4-time winners, 5-time winners? And lastly, Embiid. Joel Embiid, I mean, it's almost like he's always been the runner-up the last few years, and it almost feels like it's his time. The more healthy he gets, the better that the Sixers get. You feel like his chances improve. So those are the big 3 per the odds. I'm not sure who I'm siding with just yet, but I'm excited to see who will be MVP.
So that's the who of the season as we head towards tomorrow.
All the top players.
What are you talking about? Okay, well, I was
Didn't make a pick. Yeah, that's what I said. Didn't say
on brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is on brand. We're starting exactly where we left off. So that brings us to it's who, what, Richard Jefferson. What's the what of the NBA season?
The what? Wow, you guys sprung this on me. I wasn't good at pop quizzes. What? What? Thank you, Greg. What will teams do to get Victor Wembanyama? Yeah, that's going to be a fun watch because it's going to start pretty much now. You saw teams trading away players during the summer. You saw teams, you've seen what happened in Utah. You've seen what happened in San Antonio. All of these teams are preparing for a very, very subpar season to say the least, but I'm very, very curious to watch it as this progresses. As the season, if a team doesn't play well, their star player gets injured, they're going to just chip everything out of there and make sure that they're in that bottom 4.
You know how we always have monikers for like tanking? The one we decided last week was losing club for V-Dub. It's kind of like Wembanyama.
Yes.
Drama for Mama, thumbs down. You don't like losing club for V-Dub?
No.
Well, now you know what the rule is. Now you're going to have to come up with
I'm not doing it on live television.
No, I mean, let's go. You're here.
V-Dub, great.
All right, Mr. Mark Spears. The next one is the where. What where question do we have for the NBA season?
Where will the Suns be?
That's
a really good question. I was there on media day and people gave me some heat for being really sad. It was a sad place. But things have gotten better. Like the dust is settling on Sarver, right? Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton, they're in a good place now. What's the problem with the Suns? Why do I think they'll be 4th or 5th? The bench. You take Jay Crowder away, right? And you put Cam Johnson in the starting lineup. There's no more JaVale McGee. What is their bench? So what Monty's going to do now is he's going to have to keep at least probably 2 starters on the floor at all times, when last season he could do 1 at a time. The bench is pretty weak. We'll see what happens after Jay gets traded. But right now, I'm really nervous for the Suns starters because they're going to have to push up their minutes for them to rise.
Interesting. Okay, so now that brings us to the history teacher among us. But why, Zach Lowe?
You gave me the heavy one. Like, why? Why are we even here? Why are we throwing a ball?
Oh, Nyla's sick already. I love it.
Why can't this be the year that the cursed second sisters of the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers, finally break the curse? Every time it feels like something good is going to happen to one of these teams. Somebody gets injured, a sinkhole opens in the earth, someone else gets injured, someone demands a trade, another person demands a trade. Why can't this be the year? In Brooklyn, we all know why it's like everything, the whole thing that's happened there. Will they run for the exits at the first sign of adversity? Can they defend anybody in their small lineup? With the Clippers, this big 2 plus a whole lot of depth model is really unusual in the NBA. And when it works, it's usually because the big 2 are 2 like of the top 8 or 10 guys in the NBA. Kawhi's coming off a year off. Paul George's been injured a lot. Are those guys still at that level? And then who is the 3rd and 4th guys? Who really pops? So it's not just those 2 guys, but a bunch of really good players. But this year, it's going to happen once for one of these teams. This is going to be the year.
Yeah. With Kai Lang's help, Udina's increased control.
Kai Lang? That slippery bastard still alive?
He's alive.
right in the middle of all this.
That complicates things. I'll be on my guard. Look, I don't have much time, but I wanted to tell you that my sister, Ariana, went missing.
Missing?
What happened?
My father somehow found her and kidnapped her. Right off the street. If he's done anything to her, I'll kill him.
Marie.
Shepard, listen. I'm being hunted by Cerberus assassins. A lot of them. I need to stay out of sight.
What? Why?
I heard a rumor. Maybe more that my father is working on something for the elusive man. Something big.
Whatever's going on with your father can't be good. We have to figure this out.
I agree, but I need to do this myself. It's time I stopped running from him.
You sure?
Yes. I can't think straight until I know Ari is safe.
Be careful.
I can't promise that, Shepard. Could you?
No. I couldn't.
Whether that's bringing him in off the bench or whatever the case may be. I had a weekend to think about the Lakers after they got smacked in their last preseason game by the Sacramento Kings. And I understand it's preseason, but to get the spanking that they got, Russell Westbrook went out to the hamstring injury. It's time to address the elephant in the room, okay? And the elephant in the room is that it's just not going to work with Russ, okay? I think the relationship is pretty much over. Robin Ham is trying his best, but at the end of the day, I think this Laker roster, the way that it is currently constructed, and I love the Patrick Beverly addition.
Have you discovered a way to run FTL stations without a need for core private television? No, ma'am. Then consider this a serious assignment. Intel expecting a Cerberus raid. Cerberus?
So I don't think it's never going to happen. And I think Rob Pelinka needs to make sure that while he still has time before it gets before it gets too late in the season, that he needs to readjust this roster a little bit more and probably get Russ up out of there, to be honest with you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.
In the world of Lego Disney. In this story, I don't eat poison oak. In this story, I can leave whenever I want. In this story, all my friends have baked for me. It's ready. Come on, everyone. You can play your story on Lego.com.
It feels like just yesterday when the Celtics were playing in the NBA Finals after a magical season with a lot of hope for the future. But after a long season and plenty of hope, Boston has a big problem. After the Celtics suspended head coach Ime Udoka for a year after he had an affair with a staffer. There are clearly a lot of things we don't know about the Ime Udoka situation. For whatever reason, the Celtics really haven't said much about the situation. Here's what we know. Actress Nia Long and has been since 2015. The two had a son together in 2011 and met back in 2010 when Udoka was an assistant for the Spurs. Well, as it turns out, Udoka has been having an affair with a female female staffer, causing the Celtics to suspend him for 1 year for violations of team policies. Boston said it was well warranted and backed by substantial evidence and fact. We know that the woman helped Udoka make travel arrangements, even did the same for his fiancée. There's been a lot more to it though. Celtics were alerted about a potential situation over the summer and investigated. There have also been reports that Udoka had made some unwanted comments towards the staffer too. Udoka was once a pro basketball player from 2000 to 2012 until he became the assistant for the Spurs, later for the 76ers, and most recently for the Nets, before landing the head coaching job in Boston. Now the big question is, may Udoka ever be a head coach again? I think that's going to depend on the severity of the scandal and how much really comes out. Somehow, 14-year NBA vet Matt Barnes has been one of the biggest names in this whole mess. And that's because he immediately came out and defended Udoka, but quickly changed his mind. He said that the scandal was 100 times worse than he had thought. Barnes made it clear that it was a very serious situation, and he didn't condone any of it. I think the most interesting thing he said was that it wasn't what he did, it was an issue of who he did it with, and it was going to flip the game upside down when it came to that instance. Really, this just comes as a huge distraction for a team with such high expectations after last season. To be fair, the Celtics have at least proven that they can come back from adversity. Boston started 17-19 last year. Not great, but the Celtics didn't give up and ended up finishing the season 34-12. A lot of the credit, I think, does have to go to Brad Stevens. Now, he was a very good coach, but ultimately, he just couldn't get it done as the head coach. That's a reality. 8 years as the head coach for the Celtics, and he never...
Do you have any information on the mission, Leon?
The president of basketball operations.
Sorry, High Command can't allow for us. You're headed to Arda Yakshi Monastery.
Arda Yakshi? Like Morin?
Dennis Schroeder for
No, he's a...
Derek White.
He was living in the monastery so they couldn't harm anyone. However, they're still powerful biotics and potentially very dangerous. That's why High Command sent commandos to investigate the monastery's distress signal.
So the Asari throw us at the problem? What's the plan?
If there was a chance the Arda Yakshi could break loose, the commandos were to purge the monastery.
Purge? You mean destroy?
They would have brought heavy explosives with them, yes.
Don't assume anything. Maybe the Arda Yakshi sent out the distress call. If the Asari want us to destroy this place, I need to know what happened.
Agreed. Once we give a report to High Command, they'll stop wasting lives here.